All right, thank you very much, Maureen. The next speaker is Ms. Lyn Dobrin. She is a longtime Westbury resident. She is a food and travel writer for Anton newspapers. She's had a little bit of a bout of laryngitis, so her voice may not be as strong as normal, but she's going to come up anyway and give a story about a difficult decision to make involving family relations. All right, please welcome Ms. Lyn Dobrin.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. You know how people say they know exactly where they were when they heard some catastrophic news, like the death of Kennedy, the assassination, or the death of Princess Di? Well, I was walking from the living room toward the kitchen where my mother was talking to a friend, and I heard her say, "Barry's my favorite," confirming what I knew at that age of 11 already, that my mother favored my older brother over me. Yes. Barry could always make her laugh. Even when she was angry with him, eventually he would have her laughing. I did not inspire such affection from my mother. Perhaps it was my straightest Dick's hair that she was always trying to put into Shirley Temple curls, or the fact that my nose was not as cute as hers, more like my father's. Years later, Barry, his wife Dot, and I took a road trip down to Virginia for a family wedding. And then we did a lot of talking and talked a lot about family. And that's when I found out that my brother had as much trouble with my bossy mother as I did. We swapped stories about Mom. We laughed. We bonded. We could be friends. Still, it would have been nice to be the favorite child. The opportunity came years later. My husband and I got a phone call from Barry and Dot from New Jersey, where my parents were visiting from Florida, to tell us that my mother had publicly insulted a friend of their grandson, and there had been a big fight. That was the straw. Barry exploded. Oh, terrible, terrible. We just felt awful about it. And then Barry said, and we told him you agreed with us. In fact, he quoted me quite accurately saying there were saints to put up with her. Well, when my parents were back in Florida, we spoke. My mother said she was more angry with me than my brother. Oh, we made up. That February, I made my annual pilgrimage to Florida to visit my parents, and it was February 14th, my parents' anniversary. My mother had all of these cards on the table, as she always did. She took great pride in all the cards that she would get. There was nothing from Barry and Dot. This was serious. If they didn't acknowledge their anniversary, this could be the end of their relationship. A thought flittered through my head. With Barry out of the picture, I could be the top of the heap. No, that was cheating. Couldn't do it. I had to get out of the apartment to call my brother to tell him to call. Now remember those days, no cell phones. And if I called from my parents' apartment, it would show up on their bill. Somehow I got out of the apartment. I don't remember how. I made the phone call. I got the answering machine. I left a message. If you want to have a relationship with our parents, I think you better call them and wish them a happy anniversary. I went back to the apartment and waited. At 11 o'clock, the phone rang. It was Barry and Dot saying they had been out for the evening and they were calling to wish my parents a happy anniversary. The earth was back in its rightful